A good villain can make or break a story. Most villains in games simply serve as obstacles. They're there for the hero to beat up, and that's it. But the truly interesting ones? They embody the very struggles that a player faces in a game. Be it attaining perfection, seizing power, or sticking heads on pointy sticks, good villains represent ideas and challenge players in interesting ways. RTS games are no strangers to this concept. They've had their fair share of iconic evildoers over the decades. So in honor of Spooky Month, I thought I'd share some of my favorites. Now to clarify, a villain isn't the same as an antagonist. Antagonists are just the dudes that oppose the main character. Old wizard guy opposes Arthas, but he's not really a villain. He ain't wiping out planets or eating people. We'll keep it to one villain per franchise, no double dipping. Also, before you ask why
character from X game or franchise
isn't in the video, I haven't played their games.
How dare you make this list without playing every RTS game in existence?
Well, it's a video about villains, and there's nothing more evil than clickbait.
Awaken, my child, and embrace the glory that is your birthright.
Now one might object to Mr. Eyeball's presence. After all, the Zerg just want to eat. The Overmind isn't truly free. It's not inherently evil. Now that introduces an interesting dilemma. If malicious intent and free will are required to qualify as a villain, can the Overmind be on this list? Yeah, anti-villains are a thing. I already spoke in the Amon video about why I love the Overmind so much, but I'll say it again. Space Squid may play at being God, but the Overmind is one. He is the will of the swarm, exerting control over all Zerg. They may have distinct personalities and conflicting ambitions, but in the end, all will serve.
Truly, no Zerg can stray from my will, for all that you are lies wholly within me.
He's intimidating, omniscient, and a giant eyeball. A brain? We'll say both. When he speaks, you listen.
Go now, and keep safe my prize.
As alien as he is, he also feels weirdly paternal. As the player succeeds, he encourages them.
For you grow more cunning with each passing battle.
And while he's far from invincible, like the Swarm, the Overmind adapts to his enemies.
I have taken from his mind the secret location of Ire, the Protoss homeworld. At long last, my children, our searching is done. Soon we shall assault Ire directly.
The fact that the simple act of striking down one of his agents leads to him finding the Conclave's IP address is terrifying. Zeratul, use a VPN. Perhaps his most interesting quality is the alien morality of the Zerg. He doesn't really view his enemies with malice. He simply sees humanity and the Protoss as a means to an end. Perfection. And isn't self-improvement worth pursuing?
Told you, my death would mean little.
Sorry, Arthas, I quite enjoyed your arc. Illidan, I enjoyed your abs. Gym goals! But this is the coolest corpse award, and y'all got too much meat on your bones. Kel'Thuzad, 0% body fat. Take notes. Starting off as a random necromancer, he comes back in the Undead campaign as a chill ghost advisor. Despite his previous fight with Arthas, he's not even mad about getting killed.
Don't be foolish. The Lich King told me how our encounter would end.
As Kel'Thuzad shows, death is inevitable, but not inescapable. What's a proper body to everlasting power? Arthas may become the Lich King, but Kel'Thuzad made sure he was crowned the Lich King. Also an WAAAGH, but that's besides the point. Instead, he gives the young prince pointers on beating the various armies of the living as you prepare to resurrect him as a powerful Lich. And just listen to his voice.
I am reborn as promised. The Lich King has granted me eternal life.
Props to his VA, I'd let him resurrect me any day. Wait, not like that, not like that! He's scheming and conniving, able to guide the wayward Death Knight along the paths the Lich King desires. Also, he's got cool spells. Even when Arthas gets shanked in Frozen Throne, Kel'Thuzad is there to pick him back up. Honestly, it's a shame he disappears after flight from Lordaeron. Kel'Thuzad vs Sylvanas would have been a really fun mission. Nevertheless, this is one Lich I'd want as my advisor any day of the week. Now technically there are no good guys in 40k, but for the sake of the Imperium, let's put the Loyalists, Craftworlders, Votann, and Tau on the lighter end of the spectrum. Necrons, Orcs, and Tyranids go to the slightly meaner list, and Dark Eldar and Chaos go straight to the naughty list. When it came to Dawn of War villains, it was a toss-up between Gorguts and Elevas. I love them both, but when it comes to most entertaining villain, the Headhunter is the biggest and the strongest. The reason? He's simple. He wants to wage war and stick their heads on the pointy sticks.
Who are missing? Oh yeah, that Git Kroll.
But perhaps Gorguts' biggest draw is how funny he is.
Do you always yap so much, Yumi?
You've come here to die, alien.
Guess so.
Sometimes that's all a villain needs to be iconic. Headstrong, self-centered, and bloodthirsty, Gorguts is the perfect mix of cruel and amusing. Forget all these stiff Yumis and knife ears and Necrons. The orcs are just here to have a good time.
I liked that Commissar. Too bad it blew up with his head.
But don't let his levity fool you. Gorguts wants to wage war, but he also knows how to wage it. He'll work with his enemies when needed and screw them over when it's convenient.
Don't be a fool. Even if you have the Titan, you don't know how to operate it.
The Titan is worthless to me. That's why I'm gonna pound it into scrap.
Honestly, I love how the orcs are the only faction in Winter Assault who don't bother using the Titan. That is big Gork and Mork energy right there.
The greatest war machine is the Orc War! We don't need no damn tinker traption to be strong. We is strong!
But the legend doesn't stop there. On Cronus, he takes on the likes of the Tau, Blood Ravens, Wordbearers, Eldar, Imperial Guard, and Necrons, all with his trademark snark and brutality.
Chaos moves at its own pace, alien, not yours. How about dying? Do you do that any faster? I got to plan the rest of me day.
Alas, in the grimdark future of the 41st millennium, there is only Space Marine. The Blood Ravens are actually my favorite chapter. I just wish one of the other factions won on Cronus.
Heresy grows.
Listen, my top 3 factions are Necrons, Orcs, and Tau, so I'm a heretic either way.
You sure do like to yammer, don't ya, Yumi?
We'll fight to the last man.
Shut your mon, die already!
The Orcs as a whole represent, well, a very similar idea to the Overmind. They were a science experiment gone horribly right. Weapons designed only for war. And once the war ended, well, they devolved into the
Stupid me!
And he cried in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come forth!"
Now, I've only played Tiberium Wars and Kane's Wrath, so I can't give a complete assessment of Kane. But these 2 games are all I need to know. I'd do anything for Kane. Not like that, not like that! Kane is charming, menacing, and bald as hell, but these traits work together to make a compelling antagonist. Playing through the Nod campaign, you see why people flock to him. Disillusioned and bitter towards GDI, the masses love the Prophet. He gives purpose, he gives direction, and he's got style.
Go ahead, my son. Push the button. Inscribe your place in history with the blood of GDI.
When you serve under him, you feel like you're fighting for a righteous cause. Like he's still creepy, but it's overshadowed by the sheer charisma he exudes. Props to Joseph
Kukin.
on his excellent performance. He's far from infallible.
Of course, I could not have planned for an ambush by my own forces!
But oftentimes, even when Nod loses, he's still in control.
I saw it as an opportunity to invite a superior race to Earth.
Kane represents what the desire for salvation can drive one to do. When the world ends, people will do anything, support anyone, for the prospect of a better life. Even if the price is blood. Even when you fight against him, he treats you like a pal, giving out friendly threats as he prepares to send you home.
In a body bag.
And the scary thing is, for all his rhetoric about beating GDI, this man doesn't care.
For the record, I had no intention of winning the war against GDI.
Well, sorta. He only cares about Nod so much as it can serve his own interests, elevating himself and humanity to the next level. I respect the hustle. Before I proceed to my top pick, some honorable mentions.
You don't seem to realize my situation here. I will not be stopped. Not by you, or the Confederates, or the Protoss, or anyone. I will rule this sector, or see it burnt to ashes around me.
What are you doing, my son? Succeeding you, father.
and the hour has come at last. After today, the Scourge will meet its end. Can you hear me out there, Arthas? Its end!
Yes. Come forth to bear the word of chaos. Hear my warnings, unbelievers. Carried to your minds by the power of the Prince of Excess himself.
Aha! I, the mighty Depuce, your nemesis, will soon triumph over your so-called army.
Your time on this earth is limited. Time to say your prayers.
The world has gone crazy.
How is this man at the top of the list? He is neither the strongest nor the smartest character on here. In fairness, he is the best AI Lord and Crusader, but he usually wastes his intelligence making giant-ass castles for the entire game. When he does get around to fighting, he sends the strongest attack waves for sure, and has the best unit variety out of all the AI Lords. But does that really merit the top spot? Well, what about personality? He's devious. When he was just a teen, his entire family mysteriously bit the dust. The implication? He made himself an orphan. When the player character's father was betrayed, the wolf personally struck him down.
But I drove the sword through his stomach.
I killed my father too, and you don't hear me whining about it.
He doesn't even treat his allies well. Everyone is afraid of this man, this beast.
Enough! Ready, speak to Lord Medley's county, or I'll string you up.
Duke Volper is horrible, terrifying, and incredibly based.
Kill me now. I will not kneel before you.
He sounds like a literal wolf, a predator growling and snarling as he hunts down the player.
Ah! Watch your back. You will feel my bite.
Having recently played Stronghold 1's campaign, anytime the wolf shows up, we are urged to run.
I will tear down your castle. Stone by stone if I have to, but I will have your head.
We can't take him in a straight fight. His army's too big and too strong. He's an unstoppable force, pursuing us throughout the entire campaign, culminating in a massive siege in the penultimate mission, and a daunting final battle to breach his fortress. That's all well and good, but that's not why he's at the top of this list. The Wolf is my favorite RTS villain, not because he's the most entertaining or complex character, but because he's affected me personally. No other villain can lay claim to shaping my actual life. Imagine, if you will, 3-year-old me, or was I 4? Small, dumb, and even handsomer than I am now. Dad was just playing Crusader and stepped away for a sec. Imagine 3-year-old me seeing this weird castle game and thinking, yeah, I can play that. Seeing the immense fortress of the cunning canine himself, I commanded the army to charge the castle. And they all died horribly. Par for the course for my challenge videos, but at least I accomplish things when I sacrifice armies these days. But young me accomplished nothing. And when you suck against the AI, they let you know.
You are weak and not fit to command an army.
3-year-old me was crying, bawling. This man just told me I wasn't good enough. You call it a skill issue, he called it a me issue. And the worst part? He was right. Toddlers make terrible commanders, but when you're 3 years old, a simple insult like that leaves its mark. I'm talking years of self-esteem issues. Granted, there were a million other factors in my life that contributed to the ball of insecurity I am now, but those words were carved into my memory in a way that no other dialogue ever could be. Of course, nowadays I can easily shave his furry ass, but how many characters can you say ever left that kind of impact on your life? Ever left you doubting whether you'd ever measure up to your parents, to the expectations that others have of you, to your expectations of yourself? For a villain to affect you outside a game, I think, is the hallmark of a great villain, and due to my age, will likely never be achieved by another character in fiction ever again. Feel free to write your college thesis on why I should have included your favorite villain on this list. Excluding characters is a pretty evil thing to do. Also, let me know what your favorite RTS villains are. Back to StarCraft for the next one. It's the only content people watch on my channel. Unless it's 40k, but that's 40k. Who next? Abathur, Tychus, someone else? Shoutouts to Gladys Marino, WAAAGH, Jen Tuong, Michael Phillips, Mike Pierce, and Tridetus for supporting my deviousness. Happy Thanksgiving for my fellow Canadians, happy Halloween for everyone else, and until next time, see ya.